I woke up in a cold sweat, hands glistening. You'd think I just got done shaking hands with the milkman. Just another night for a recovering nut junkie. 3 years out, 2 years on the force. Still, this night was going to be different. Tonight was the night I turned in my badge. I'd had it as a beat cuck, walking the streets where the simps and fapics just stared at you. They had a real distaste for the boys, calling us chads. Some fellow officers even got hit with stray wads during the late night shifts. Only took one bro getting one to the eye to make me start second-guessing my career choices. But now, I was going to be a free man. I was done with this job, with this city. The hub was what they called it back where I was from. A place you could go to have all your dreams come true. All your wishes granted. Maybe for the lucky ones, that may have been. The ones that came here long before I did. I heard the stories, every night something different. The place was full of vim and vigor. Young and old alike packed their bags and left it all behind to come to the hub. That all changed a couple of years ago. That incident came to be called by the other cucks as the Cold Gobbler. That was a rough time. Shook this city to its core. Those that survived packed their bags and hightailed it out. Others ended up destitute, turning to nut junkin for a quick shill. We all thought that was the worst of it. Bunch of idiots we were back then. Not long after that frosty Thanksgiving came the White Christmas. None of the detectives could figure out what caused it. A gas, bomb, some kind of fat mob. But the public suffered. Roaming simp gangs, fat boy shootings on little grocery stores. White Christmas turned this already broken city on its head. Meanwhile, you've got our beloved mayor, too busy putting out daily reminders to pay your thought or polish the banister. I was tired of all of it. I was gonna quit. Take one last night walk through the city I once loved, and then hop on the next train out of here. I hailed a taxi over to the 50th precinct. Walked in with plain clothes. There was no way I was going to hear any excuse to try and keep me on the force. I turned right, then left, then right again. Ended up passing by some of the younger short and curlies. Poor saps. Don't know how much better things were. Also caught a glimpse of Slick Willie being processed for his weekly worm burping. Glad I never had to see his ugly mug again. Or the rest of the other mod lords of this place. After the White Christmas, the simp gangs and nut junkies all started to organize and operate under the 4 mod lords. One was Slim Jim, palest guy you'd ever meet. Man was known for lone rangering his Tonto for 3 days straight. Runs a pondering business in the back of a Patreon chapel on the west side. As for the scum in front of me, good to see you back, Slick. How many times has it been now? 6,969 times you've been charged with Tuxin and Go? Guess they finally got around to cuffing your carrot again, huh? Keep those hands slippery, alright? Talk about someone you'd never want to get caught in a back alley with. The third one no one has ever seen, and even the man's closest junkies don't let his whereabouts slip. Known on the streets as Big Dark Richard. The force has been hunting his ass for a long time. People suspect him to be the largest nut dealer in all of the hub, yet no one's seen his face. After running into Slick, I stormed my way up to the bullpen. Turns out there was a celebration going on. Sergeant Hen's 34th year on the force. Baked him a cake and everything. I wouldn't put it past the Domina twins to go over the top with kissing ass. Tor Domina baked the cake, while Trix got the Sarge hen a new tie. I breezed right on past and into the captain's office, slammed the door behind me. The person in charge, sitting there with their name labeled on the desk and everything. Captain Pross T. Tutty. Oldest, hardest working, and honest person on the force. Absolutely hated my guts. Didn't blame them with my record. Spent a few nights in the downstairs DJ booth at the precinct during those years. Pretty sure she thinks my hiring was a public stunt or something. You'd think after my 2 years on the force she would have softened the peach a little around me. Nope. Only minded the gap even more. Pretty sure I left a lasting impression when I tossed my badge on the table and said, "Get yourself another cuck," and left. The whole entire bullpen was deaf quiet as I walked out of there. The silence was nice for a change. I walked out of the front doors, back into the noise of the city, breathed in the steamy air, and smiled for the first time in a while. It felt good to finally be free. After that, I took a walk 10 minutes south from there, past the old theater where they kept showing reruns of Marching the Penguin, Finding Nemo, and Magic Mike XXL. Over there was a place all the motorboying crews frequented. Pocket Pool Parlor. No better place to go to get a drink, play a little 5-on-1, and get on with your night. I opened the door, and the kid behind the counter immediately recognized me. "Hey, Mike! Want your Harvey Wallbanger straight up or on the rocks?" was what he said. Definitely was a new temp for the night. The old vets knew I liked my wall-banging neat since last year. If I was feeling a little bit frisky, I'd take it with a twist. But not tonight. Nights where I took it with a twist always ended up at the club across the street. Good old N&C. Place burned down from one night worker accidentally lighting some tinders while on a smoke break. Guy was busy bumbling about that the place was damaged beyond salvation. By the time the fire department put out the fire, the only thing left was a single hinge. Now, it's some upscale club for fans only, run by someone everyone calls the Madam, who I think was the last of the 4 mod lords. Place was too rich for my blood. That was a rather odd little spot to pop up all of a sudden. Really caught on with the younger folks. Some of them even started looking up to the workers like role models. I'm sure those workers would model any role you like for the right price. That wallbanger fit well with that night. With the city. Newbie went cheap from the rack. The thing was unbalanced. Sweet and bitter. Harsh and unforgiving on the tongue. Probably could have gone much better if I tipped up front. That's how all the temps seem to work nowadays. I downed that thing like medicine before giving one last wave to the boys at the bar. Dropped my money on the counter and left that parlor, expecting it to be the last time I ever stepped foot in there. To be honest, after stepping out, I had no clue where else to go. I checked my watch. Still had more than an hour to go before the train arrived. Back in the day, I probably would have been spending hours tapping into my potential. But I'd gone clean from that. Haven't felt the urge to attend Palm Sunday for a very long time. But it felt only right to pay one last stop. Wasn't a long walk to get there either. Back in the day, I could have found my way here from any part of the city. Just past the orbiting Venus was a small little back alley. Nut junkies called it the Happy Trail, for obvious reasons. Connects to the other end where there is a pawn shop you could give and receive pearl necklaces in the back. They used to basically call this alley home. The captain tried to clean up this place multiple times. But for every handful of junkies brought in, another 20 took their place. I didn't stay long. The sight was bad enough, but the smell was 10 times worse. Even as a junkie, never was a fan of being around other people singing soprano. Happy trail. It was really more like a worm's nest at that point. However, I did get a glimpse of something. Made me realize how filthy this city had become. A couple of Fapics turned their head my way as I was leaving. They were kids. Basically babies. Less than half the age I was when I started nut junkin'. In all my days before and on the force, not once did I ever see junkies so young. Really made me clench my fist. Really made me sure this was no longer the hub people preached about. The hub that I moved here for in the first place. Made me wonder if it was always just a fantasy. It was early. Way too early for the train. Nonetheless, there I was, standing at the ticket booth and purchasing my one-way ticket out of here. One flimsy piece of paper in my hand later, I found myself sitting at one of the benches lining the tracks, looking out through the window. I took a breath in, closing my eyes for a moment, then said, "This city can spank its monkey to death for all I care." Time flew by as I sat there. Honestly didn't know until I heard the train blow its own horn. It was time to board. I got in line, even though it was basically just me. As the conductor opened the doors, I made my way inside. Well, you're probably wondering why I'm sitting here, telling some random stranger what happened today while throwing back yet another wallbanger. Honestly, I don't know. I did step through those train doors. But after that, I stopped. I looked back towards the happy trail and thought of those kids. They deserve better. Hell, this whole city deserved better. However, the hub, the city I loved, it was gripped by a disease. The same disease that caused Cold Thanksgiving and White Christmas. The very thing that allows the mod lords to have control in the first place. Yeah, that's right. It all comes back to Fapics. You'd be surprised how many people in this city use nut junking just to get through their day. Not all become junkies, but they sure as hell get close. Everybody thinks they can get away with a little five-finger shuffle every now and then. Next thing you know, they're junking enough to make the bald man cry. People want a way to stop thinking and just feel good. Trust me, after being on both sides for so long, I can tell you, there's more than one way to get that, and all of them are shit. That's enough out of me. I should probably get going. Thinking if I leave right now, I might be able to beg for my badge back. Then get back to giving this place one more shot. However, if things don't work out, still got that one-way ticket. Thanks for letting me talk your ear off. Be safe out there, kid. It's a cruel world out there, where everyone ends up riding the mayonnaise surf. You gotta keep your wits about you, else next thing you know, you might be the one calling the happy trail home.